All right, there we go.
Okay, the passwords have been given out to Captain Jan and Ortegon.
All right, so we're just awaiting the teams, and we're sitting in the well, our first lobby of the 333rd SCS.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so people are starting to trickle in, and we should soon be on our way.
Oh, this is great. They decided to do 2 passwords.
Because I saw a different password than the one we used to get in here. Oh well.
I just seen it in contacts, but I was going by Alpha, because usually Alpha is leading, so... And I apologize, my first time reference, so there's a lot I don't know.
I mean, we may have a few bumps along the road, but I don't think it's going to be anything major, as now the lobby is filling up, and we are going to be able to start the lobby timer very soon and get on our way. I can take the time now that we have some downtime to say JT07 and Freddy, thank you so much for the follows.
Okay, we're starting the lobby timer.
Alright, so now starts the countdown of 4 minutes, maybe 5 in case they would ask for the additional minute.
And we are playing with the regular rules this week because they usually can vote between classic and regular. Regular means you can bring anything. Classic, you're only pre-alliance ships and guns.
Are the guns also forbidden? I mean, maybe we don't see too many alliance guns usually in the gameplay anyways.
Like Seraph is an alliance gun, but no one uses it anyway because it's kind of broken.
Yeah, I would say maybe you'd see the lasers, although we've been seeing less and less of those as well.
Yeah. But they're making a resurgence. They're pretty powerful.
Yeah, I'd say their only weakness is their incredibly crappy arcs.
Yes.
And now, for anyone interested in the stream, we've also opened up the gates for our illegal gambling ring. You can bet your Dimitri dollars on who's going to win and who's going to lose this match. Right, so more than 2 minutes have already passed, and we're quickly moving towards the match here.
We have 30 seconds till ship locks, and then 30 seconds before game start.
All right. So we're seeing two different, although very similar setups, I'd say. You've got both the Pyramidians, and then you have two smaller, faster ships that are probably going to be either peeling or harassing for their ally as the two big boys duke it out. And I would say that's a setup we've seen a lot nowadays. With one of the mid-range ships and one of the close-range brawlers.
The Goldfish usually is pretty good against a Stormbreaker, but we'll see. And that's Captain Jan's preferred ship. So it's time to start. And if they don't start, then we force start.
And there we go. All right, so loading into our first match, the fight over Fernfeld. Quite an open map, but with some dangerous terrain if you happen to fall low enough. So if I do the red ships, do you want to do the blue ships? How do you want to do this?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right, then I'm gonna
set the timer here.
Yeah, I'm gonna start us up with the SMS St. Istvan. It is Captain John's Goldfish, an Watcher fish this time with a Gatling to the right side and 2 carronades to the left. Then you got the SMS Serinyi, piloted by Huskine. It's an Artling with a heart on 3 and a flak on 4.
Then we got Thor's Groupies, piloted by Ortegon, and we have Manicore for their heavy gun, Whirlwind Light Gatling gun on the front, and Silica double-barreled mortar and flamethrower on the port side. And then we have Pyramidian Blast Casualty, piloted by Swaithskin. We have a flare gun on the rear, light flak cannon, light Artemis, and whirlwind light Gatling.
All right, and things start off immediately as the Thor's Groupies come in with their drift sail at ridiculous speeds. They've taken most of the attention here as the Blast Casualty is trying to move in and help them. However, the St. Istvan is struggling right now to get into Augs of the Thor's Groupies. They land on a Watcher, they get an engine. They go over the Blast Casualty as they don't seem to be giving up on their hunt after the Thor's Groupies here. And as we said earlier, a fish is a very real threat for a Stormbreaker, because if they get rid of their engines, that Stormbreaker is in trouble.
That is true. Any of the fast ships, the Squid, Stormbreaker, and the Shrike, their engines are the most important things on the ship besides their hull.
Yeah, and
then we got our first kill.
Yeah, the Pyramidian goes down after the Thor's Groupies land some really nice mortars there. Now the St. Istvan is alone against the 2 ships. And down goes the hull, and mortars land, but they manage to get the disable as they move away. But the Blast Casualty is right there as well, disabling the main gun. They've got a firm hold on this ship.
Thor's group is just kind of waiting in the wings.
Yeah, they're not really getting in there. I think they know that a fish will always have a very hard time versus a Artling. So this game is kind of full of rock, paper, scissors games here.
Absolutely.
And down goes the fish.
He held on as long as he did, but that's because the Stormbreaker didn't close in right away.
Yeah, they didn't go all out there, and maybe they were trying to wait for the force spawn of the other ship. I mean, they're nowhere near the red team spawn. We can see now that the Serinyi has been force spawned in there at E2. But the blue team is in no hurry to go and check out the red team spawn. So both red teams are spawned in at the same spawn there. Blue team still kind of passive here. They're not doing too much. Red team starts moving immediately now that they're back together towards the blue team.
But I think it's always good to be somewhat conservative to format your strategy if you're not in a hurry, especially if you have the advantage like the blue team. So they're probably talking.
Yeah, I mean,
red team is the one that has something to lose right now.
Yeah, the blue team could just wait it out, because if that match timer goes out right now, they are the winner.
Which they want it. Most teams that I know don't actually do that, but they're just not in a hurry, so they can wait for them to charge in and make mistakes.
Red team, however, they want to make this engagement happen right now.
Stormbreaker staying back, seeing who to go in on.
St. Istvan losing hull there. Surprised that the Blast Casualty didn't lose hull, but they've been taking quite a lot of double fire here. They managed to keep that armor up as they get another hull break on the St. Isvan. The Thor's groupies moving in on the red Pyramidion. Getting a nice watcher. Getting 2 engines. Now the flames are coming out. 20 stacks on that armor. It's not going to hold much longer. We'll see. Will the mortars come out? Not in time, at least. They keep up with the flame stacks, and that's basically crippling them. You don't want to be an engineer on a ship that's completely on fire. That's no fun.
Absolutely not. There is a little trick, though. Sometimes, depending on how many stacks, you got to learn to ignore the fire. It's only a couple stacks. You move on, shoot. Sometimes it's hard to see, but...
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest balance issue.
Yeah.
That's the biggest balance issue in Goyo is, do I shoot or do I repair?
If you're in a hurry and it's a couple stacks, you ignore it, repair it, and shoot. And then when you got a little downtime, then you put it out. Because by the time you put it out, is it worth it?
St. Istvan losing armor once again here as the Artemis is slowly chipping away at their perma. Those groupies going for the Srinyi here, who's completely focused on getting the blast casualty off their ally. However, ignoring that Stormbreaker might prove to be their downfall as the mortars come out here. And they go down.
Oh, and they get a sec, yeah.
Alright, and the St. Istvan very low on perma here. They once again lose their armor, but manage to narrowly dodge the flags coming out. However, the Thor's group is right behind them.
So that's 4-zip. It might be a shutout. I don't know. The gameplay, it seems like the blue team was a prudish hemorrhage. Seemed to have a good strategy. The Stormbreaker stays behind until the Pyramidion gets their target, then they assist where they're needed, basically.
Yeah, and the Pyramidion has performed really well under the double pressure of the red team. Because they've been moving in, taking at least 2 Gatlings from the enemy team, and somehow still managing to keep their armor up. They did take a little bit of perma in the last fight there. And they move back to their own spawn. They're very comfortable there. Once again, forcing the red team to make the first move. We can see them choosing the same spawn as before here. They probably know that the blue team is staying in their own corner there, just like last time. So they move over the mountain here.
Not much time on the clock, so they don't have much time to catch up, but at the same time, if you're too fast, you make mistakes if you don't have a strategy, and it could be a disadvantage.
Yeah, because that's the dangerous part about being behind like this, is you usually just rush in because you want to make the engagement happen. You want to have time left to get those points that you so desperately need.
And for those listening, there is a 1 minute delay, which we have to when we're streaming SCS or Crucible, so people aren't stream sniping.
Yeah, that's correct. Alright, so the blast casualty once again moving in here. Oh, and ramming the St. Istvan really hard here, really taking all of the attention once again as the Thor's groupies. It's kind of left to their own devices. However, the St. Istvan is tired of this, and they're going straight for the Thor's groupies. However, that Pyramidion is making itself really hard to ignore. And the mortars go out, but the hull isn't really down yet. However, there you go, and that's a win for the blue team. As for the question in chat, which team should I cheer for? I encourage everyone to cheer for the team that they like. As a caster, I like to remain as unbiased as possible.
For some reason, I can't see the rest of this challenge. I'm trying to see it's Fresh Void. There's an advertisement in the way here.
Talking about our next match, it would be the Fresh Void versus the Schnitzel Madness.
Correct. Okay. Fresh Void. Oh, I don't know who the contacts are for that. Let me see here. Oh, okay, that's Suna and JT. Okay. And our map is going to be number 7, or was that 7? So that's, let's see here. Northern Fjords. Wait a minute, they already did Northern Fjords. You can do that twice.
I don't know the particular rules, if there is any ruling against having the same map twice. We do have a whole lot of matches, and if enough teams sign up, it would be impossible to not have the same map twice.
Yeah, they corresponded with the numbers, and number 7 is the Northern Fjords. Let me double check with Portable Grump just to make sure. Okay, I was just double checking. So that is correct. There's more than one. So, yes. So I was just double checking. So let me get them in here.
Alright, and a quick shout out, Mr. Aske, thank you so much for the 29 bits, and thank you for being here and supporting the Guns of Icarus community.
And while we're waiting for the teams to come in, I'd just like to do a couple shout outs. To Chaos Saturdays, every Saturday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, they have Chaos streamed by Lasagna. Hosted by Pixel. It's a random event. Great for new players because you don't get to choose who's captain or gunner. It's randomized by numbers to certain gameplays, and even the guns and the ships are randomized, so it makes you think outside the box, so someone can't yell at you for having a bad loadout if you don't have a choice. But it's a lot of fun, and it's chaos.
Arguably good for someone to get introduced to the game in a very friendly environment. I know there's a lot of people there who can tell you how the game works and are very willing to. And fun for the experienced player as well, since it's not really the same game, is it?
And then there's Crucible every
Saturday.
It's at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's a great intro to competition because you can enter as an individual or a pair the most, and you can choose your preference for a pilot or crew, engineer, gunner. And whether you're a beginner or a vet, you don't get a choice of what team you're on, and they even out the teams or balance them as best they can by your ability. And it's a consecutive scoring system every week, so there's seasons and then 8 weeks.
And as such, you have an individual score as a player, is that correct?
That is correct. So each week you could be on a different team, so it goes by the individual.
And as it is just that, I mean, that would make it very much a judge of both your skill in the game, but also your ability to work with different people.
Correct. And if there is someone you really have a problem with, you can DM privately to organizers, and they can make an exception not to team you up with that person, or if there's some issues, because there's a couple issues in the past.
We're all human.
Yes. I did the contacts, and now I'm messaging them in game.
They should be heading here because their match should be over, correct?
Yeah, because they want to put them up on the challenge, as far as I know. So, oh, they are. Wait a minute. How are they? Okay, something's wrong here. Someone messed up because they are running in Northern Fjords.
Are you sure that's just not the minute delay on the stream? Or are you looking in the game?
No, I'm looking in the game.
Oh, okay.
They're currently running. So I'm not sure I understand. Nerd Hector isn't on here.
Because then I will quickly go back to the brackets, show this instead, and
yes,
we'll wait until we have confirmed information on who the two teams that are gonna fight are. So stand by as we take a short break here to sort out whatever's going on. All right, so now we're actually back. We know what teams are going in the lobby. Thank you everyone for your patience.
Yes, extra refs, extra streamers, 10-match team.
So we're sitting in the lobby between the Biodigital Jazz and the Schnitzel Madness, and I think everyone is anxious for this to start.
And we're missing one person. I'll give them, especially with the confusion, I'll just give them a minute.
Right, so the match timer is started. It is counting down, and we should soon be on our way with the second match. I once again apologize for any delays that might have been caused. However, now we should be on our way.
Now, unless they ask for a pause, which they're not, because they do have a missing crewmate, I'm assuming that they're connecting.
Yeah, they could call for a pause, but it seems like they are opting not to.
So I don't know if they're
is
going to play with an AI, which they can do. But if someone does join in, they would have to type the loadout.
Yes, they would have to announce their loadout to both teams and the referee.
Oh, here they are. Which, like I said, they don't necessarily need them for them to do the lobby war.
Yeah, exactly. The crew members are usually not necessary to do.
For those that don't know, they do call it the changes. That's courtesy. But we call this the lobby wars because sometimes you don't see what's going on, but they're changing guns, ships, and it's a chess game. They're trying to counter whatever their opponent is bringing.
Yeah, exactly. And now we do have a pause call out from the blue team, which has been granted. So that is a maximum of 2 minutes, I believe.
Correct.
All right, and the pause is now over, and we have 1 minute till the ship locks, 30 seconds until the ships lock. And a lot of changes coming out here, as both teams are trying very hard to make sure they stay on top in the drafting.
And this is a very important part of the game, the lobby war. It's boring, but it's very important.
Yeah, and usually in the respective audio channels of whatever team, there will be heated discussion.
So ships are locked. But sometimes if there's a last minute change, the ref can grant the pause to allow them a change.
So that would add 1 more minute to the whole drafting phase.
Correct, just to be fair.
So the pilots are readying up, and we're going into the game.
There they go. I didn't have to force start it this time. Yes, give them the courtesy to ready up, but if they don't, then we have to force start it.
All right, so water hazard. Another very open math, but with some unique hazards. We have the hanging bridges between the terrain here. That could pose a very real threat to anyone who accidentally bumps into it. So I'm going to start us off with the Stallion. It is an Artling with a Banshee on 3 and a Flak on 4, piloted by Cowboy 6 guns. And then you've got the Kindness, another Artling, piloted by Niels Jules. It's got a Flak on 3 and a Artemis on 4.
And then we have ship 3, the Summer Palace, piloted by Sunrise Prelude, and it is an Artemis on the front, a Whirlwind Gatling gun and mortar, which is his meta. Then we have the Aphrodite Magnate, piloted by Tech Knight. Has Manticore, Hwacha, and Hellhound on either side, Gatling, and Hades, and Artemis on both sides. So it's a long-range, short-range ship.
Yeah, and the Stallion taking a real beating here almost immediately, getting focused by both ships. However, Aphrodite is very quickly here being closed in by both Pyramidians.
Well, they're figuring to ignore the squid because it's hard to get, and Sunrise Prelude is a great pilot.
And so now we have the very real threat of the mortar here as they chose to ignore the squid, which is a very dangerous decision. So that's one Pyramidian out. However, the other one has quite a firm grip on Aphrodite, but Summer Palace is coming in here to change the tide. They get a very real amount of perma in on the Aphrodite. Now they have to avoid that hull break or face the wrath of the back mortar. So Aphrodite should be back in business now when we see Hades coming out. The hull is broken, however, no one really has any explosive in arc for it. Now the Kindness attempting to get out, but it might be just a bit too late as they go down to the Artemis. So that's a 2-0 to the blue team as they claim the first kill of this match. Now we see them immediately rush up to get a good view of the enemy team's spawns to make sure they know where they spawn. So we see a red spawn in F6 by both teams here. Summer Palace already by the middle of the map and scouting around to try and determine where they are. We've got a spot out.
Did make a mistake of not doing the timer right away, so I'm putting 15 minutes on the clock.
Right, now we see the two Pyramidians know where the Summer Palace is. They haven't really spotted Aphrodite yet, who's sitting up in a cloud right now. However, that Hades should be a sure tell sign of approximately where they are. Summer Palace is taking some damage, getting slowly worn down by the Gatlings here, so they're having a bit of an issue moving in. They're trying to get those picks of the guns with the Artemis to make sure that they can get in safely. Now the Kindness moving in on the Aphrodite, however, it could be argued that maybe the Stallion is just a bit too far away as the Kindness start taking fire from both ships.
Yeah, this is a really bad move, especially against the Magnate.
Because now we see the Aphrodite just backing up, and they do have the long fire to, or the long range fire to support the ally even if they back away. The Kindness is taking fire still from both ships as they go down, and now the Stallion is left alone against both ships, well within the range of the Aphrodite, who's now closing in on it. We'll see the Summer Palace going in with the back mortar here. However, they didn't really get ready before they got the armor back up here. We have consistent Hades on the Stallion as the Summer Palace is still just looming around. And there they go down. And the Kindness just spawning in, and they should be getting spotted by the Summer Palace here. And they are in a very bad position.
I'm wondering, that was a force spawn, maybe? Or were they trying to rush in?
It feels too fast to have been a force spawn, so I would argue they probably were trying to get in and help their ally. However, that might just have proven their downfall.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough knowing you're going to get that forward, but... And that's the game.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just better to take that step back and try and regroup and try and do the reverse sweep. Alright, so that is a victory for the Biodigital Jazz.
Tech Knight, and which is the new team that started last week, and Sunrise Prelude. And if this is K&K's second match, that means they have been eliminated.
Snitchel Madness, you mean, right?
Oh, Snitzel Madness. Thank you. I apologize.
So now we will see the match between the Biodigital Jazz and the Prudish Hemorrhage.
Oh, they're coming in now. And let me double check the map. It is 14, which is Assault on Kinforth.
And there we go. We can see both teams are already gathered.
And lobby timer started, which I misspelled.
All right, so we have 4 minutes till the game starts, and 3 minutes 30 seconds until the ships will be locked.
Oh, I did make a mistake. They should switch. Biodigital is on blue, I guess.
That's correct. British Hemorrhage on red, and Biodigital Jazz on blue.
For those out there, I'm going by the challenge of how they're putting it on. So, I did report the. Which actually, that is true. Biodigital should have been on red last game, so that might have been a mix-up. So
That might have been the cause of confusion.
Yes. And no matter what the ships pick, it seems like Sunrise always picks that his specific meta squid with the Artemis on the front.
We have seen some different things from Sunrise Prelude. However, the squid is his most well-known ship by far. Yes. We're seeing a lot of changes as we now only have 30 seconds until the ships are locked. With a very interesting matchup here to see, as it seems like red team is opting for a Junker Stormbreaker versus the blue team's Pyramidion Corsair.
I've never seen Sunrise do a Corsair. That is interesting. Very interesting.
Alright, so the ships are locked, and unless someone requests the minute, however, I don't think we saw that many last second swaps. We are headed into the game now.
And like I said earlier, if they don't ready up, I give them a chance, but then I have to force start it to keep it fair.
Now we're loading into Assault on Kinforth. A map filled with very dangerous terrain and some very dubious hitboxes. So starting off, we've got the Unseen Unsing. It's a Junker... Unseen Unsung, sorry. With a Banshee Flamer on the right side with a Gatling on front and a double Artemis on the left side. Then we've got the Thor's Groupies. It's a very luminous Stormbreaker with a Gatling double Banshee combo with a Hwacha on the right side.
And then we have the Ares piloted by Tech Knight, and we have a flamethrower and a flak gun on their side, and then Gatling and Artemis on the front, and Artling. Next we have Windflower, piloted by Sunrise Prelude, and he has Manicore Heavy Hwacha on the port side, Tiger Heavy Detonator on the starboard, or no. And then a Hwacha in the front, 2 light Gatling guns, and a light harpoon gun on the rear.
Right, and I just realized I forgot to mention. So the pilots for the red team are Schweizkin and Ortagon. And we move straight into it as both teams seem to be meeting up here at the big pipe in the middle of the map. Junker already being spotted, as well as the Windflower.
Windflower is staying behind, so it looks like Ares may be flanking, trying to sneak behind them since they're unspotted.
Yeah, so we've got vision on the Windflower, and now the Unseen Unsung being unspotted as a major cloud comes in here, and the Ares may be using that to their advantage as they move in. However, they seem a bit passive here. They're not really committing to the flank. Might be due to the fact that they lost the spots on the enemy team, making them a bit unsure because they now don't have any idea of the enemy's position. They could have moved.
Yes, Ares seems to be backing off a little bit. No, he's moving in again.
Yeah, because now we once again have, or the blue team has confirmation on where the red team is hanging out. We've got some fire barely reaching the Windflower here.
Thor's Groupies is going super low.
Yeah, so it seems like both teams are opting to try and get the drop on the other team, with leaving one ship very visible and the other team hidden. Timer should be started, yes.
Yes, oh, thank you.
And now we have the arrows revealing their position as they move in from the side on the junker here, breaking both their Artemis as they start the harassment with the Gatling and the flak here. Response from the red team coming in here now as both ships turn their attention, but the Windflower is coming in as well, and that is not a threat you can just ignore. They're coming in at a ludicrous speed here as they barely miss those groupies and almost hit the pipe.
Yes, they're quite separated, but I think that's what they wanted, so the Ares could flank here.
Yeah, we've got good watch out from the Windflower there as they take out one of the engines on the Thor's groupies. They're barely left with any armor, and now the hull goes down, and so does the whole ship, with a ruthless attack from the Ares. Now the Unseen Unsung is left alone, as a watcher keeps coming out from the Windflower, and on the junker, all of the components are put so closely together that anything like Artemis or Hwacha has a very big chance of taking out almost all of them. And a mighty ramp from the Windflower as the junker goes down. So blue team not really moving too much. They actually seem to be opting to move backwards here. And we'll see where the red team opts to spawn. We see a spawn in B8 by both red ships. And we'll see if the cloud makes their position hidden or if the Arises are gonna find out about this, because they don't need to move much forward here to see the red team. And so spots out on both of the red team's ships as they start moving in. We already see Artemis fire.
It looks like Thor's trying to get around the flank, maybe even divert their attention, but it might be a mistake because the last time he was by himself, he didn't do too well.
And the Windflower just taking the brunt of those hits while they keep on moving in. They get a watch on them, removing 3 guns and an engine. However, the Thor's groupies is sitting without armor and without 1 engine. Not a position you want to be in on a Stormbreaker. Windflower opting for the ram as they lose their armor, taking heavy damage from both enemy ships here. Banshee's coming out, we've got Gatling coming out, and here comes the Flamer. They're gonna have to be really careful.
Through. Yes.
Yeah, they're gonna have to be real careful not to land on the pipe here, which it seems like they are. Now the Ares moving in, trying to help their ally. However, it's just too late as they come in, and they're now stuck in between the 2 enemy ships. Thor's groupies narrowly avoiding death by flak there. However, hull is down again. They just need to get that little bit of damage to bring the whole ship down. Slowly but surely, the Ares is being chipped down by the junker here.
Yeah, Stormbreaker just barely escaped that. That should have been their kill. He smelled blood in the water, but wasn't able to get the kill.
This leaves the question of how...
2-2.
Yeah. And that leaves the question of how is red team gonna handle the next engagement, because those groupies cannot handle any damage right now.
Some teams opt to rush in to get that death so they can be equal.
Yeah, and just try and get any kind of cheeky perma they can on the enemy team. We see the blue spawning in on H5 as they move towards the last known location of the red team. Red team seems to be standing by. They're quite ready for the blue team. They see where they're coming from. Spots go out on all ships. Thor's group is taking a bit of a defensive position behind a building here as the unseen unsung stays out in the open. We see the blue team slowly but surely moving in. The Ares seems to be taking point here.
I think they know where Thor's groupies are because they're being cautious. Yeah, because Ares is turning for it, knowing that they're in that area somewhere.
Yeah, they know that they're behind the building. They just don't know exactly where. However, they're going to be made aware now as the Thor's groupies rise for a watch attack. However, they receive one in return, losing their guns. And now the Windflower is moving in. It seems like both blue ships are going to go for the Thor's groupies here as they slowly but surely get the hull down. And they are hull broken. Will they manage to stay alive? And they get it up just in time as the flags land.
Well, I think they might have missed their, unless he gets to this ram here, which he's not. The Junker has come in to save Stormbreaker.
Yeah, but it seems like they're directing their attention towards the Pyramidion, and the Windflower is also going to go up against the Junker. They know the Stormbreaker has to be careful. They can't just rush in some heroic attempt to try and save their ally.
And the Junker goes down.
Yeah, Junkers are notorious for having a massive armor, but as soon as you get rid of that armor, they fall so easily. Now it seems like Thor's groupies might be opting to run away here. They lose an engine to an unfortunate Artemis shot there, so it seems like they're gonna go down.
Yeah, that looked like they weren't trying to run away. Maybe just get as much damage as they could. Because yeah, there's no point when you got a sliver of health like that. You are at a big disadvantage.
Yeah, because either it could be like what we just saw, where you know you have to be cautious, and that's why you can't go in and help your ally, and the opposite of that, you could get focused down, leaving your ally alone in a fight against two ships. And Junkers are not really known for their ability to run away from battle.
You'd be surprised. I've subbed for the Steel Vanguard and flown on the opposite ship of Mulsine, and he tends to fly the Junker a lot and it gets away.
All right, so we see a red spawn in C5 as they immediately turn their attention to the exact same spot. It seems like we're going to see all battles of this game in the exact same spot here in the pipes around the northern edge of the map. Although, no, it seems like the red team's opting to move around here, try and come from sort of a unexpected angle.
But blue knows where they are because Junker has been spotted.
Yeah, so we've got spots out on both teams, and blue team seems to be moving to engage here. However, they're not rushing into anything. They're taking it very cautiously. We see red team taking up sort of a position here around one of the structures in the middle of the map here. As there is no terrain destruction in this game, hardcover makes a very good position if you want to play defensively. As we see, the blue team still not really moving in. They know that red team has a very defensive position along this structure.
Now, in their positioning and being spotted, there's a chance that if they run down the clock, there could be overtime if they don't get this last kill.
Yeah, and that's the dangerous part for red team right now. Blue team only needs one more kill to secure this victory. See some Hawacha fire going out towards the Thor's groupies as they bump a building over nothing major as they manage to dislodge themselves. You see the Junker taking up position against the Windflower here. Windflower moving in, and Ares is scrambling to move in towards their ally here. They seem to be opting to take out the Junker as the Windflower is left to brawl the Stormbreaker. The Unseen Unsung loses its armor as the flags go out, and that gives blue team the victory of this match. So Biodigital Jazz takes home the victory with a 5-2 against Prudish Hemorrhage. And that should be it for this stream, as I will direct you forwards. If you want to see what is going to happen to the Biodigital Jazz as they move onwards in the competition, Saldarim will be the one casting that. And all links to the Twitch should be in the challenge or in the COG Discord. However, I will provide a link to the challenge to anyone who wishes to follow the event. And then I will say thank you for me. I will also be hosting the main channel for anyone who wants to stay here and keep on betting. Darkko, do you have anything to say before we say goodbye to these people?
No, but it'll be interesting if they pull it off, because the Palmalos have been winning. Oh, geez, I've lost count how many SCSs they have won in a row. So if anyone might have a chance, it's Biodigital. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think we're looking at an 8-week win streak at this point, or somewhere around that number.
So with that, I will close this lobby.
And I will close this stream. Thank you everyone for coming out and watching me. And we will move on to one of the other streams.
Correct, which is Alpha Acidarium. Bori, I forget the name.
Bori and a number, I believe.